Yo, what is up gamers? It's Sebastian coming to a brand new video. Normally on this channel we'll be discussing what is the meta, but today we're going to be discussing what is the meta. And that's because some people online just haven't seemed to grasp this simple concept, and I feel this would be a good opportunity to make a new video for once, describing this rather simple concept that actually applies to the broader gaming community, because any competitive atmosphere uses meta in this context. But in order to understand the word, we need to know its origin. So where does it come from? It comes from Greece, like a lot of words in the English language. And in Greece, they were using it to describe when something goes beyond itself, right? If something was meta in Greece, it was transcending what it actually was. In today's society, we can define it as when a piece of creative work refers to itself or the conventions of its genre. For example, when She-Hulk in the comic breaks the fourth wall, that is meta. Or when Kingsman says this ain't that kind of spy film as a parody of the spy thriller genre, that again is meta because it's referring to the conventions of the genre. But here's some other ways to use meta. Basically, you take meta, you take any word, you stake them together, and you get metamorphosis, metacarpus, meta language, meta name, meta decolor There's an unfunny joke I can make here that I'm not going to make. And basically, there's also metaphysics. There's a lot of different ways to use meta. But none of these matter, right? The only important thing here is meta game, because it's all about the game, really. So, meta in the gaming community is used as a shorthand for meta game, wild. But what is meta game? Well, this word comes from game theory, not MatPat, actual game theory, and was later adapted into several Magic the Gathering articles from like 1997, 2000s, there was one in 2007. Really, it was Magic the Gathering that introduced metagame to the competitive atmosphere, because they're kind of pretentious over there. But basically, metagame refers to looking beyond the game itself, as you would imagine with the definition of meta. So, what a metagame might be is discussing what matchups you might expect to see, or in Magic the Gathering's example, looking at what decks are popular. You could also be looking at how you might play according to your matchups, or thinking about how your opponent has played in the past and adapting to that. That's really popular in chess. If you see, oh, my opponent in chess likes to open with this, I'm going to open with this instead to counteract what their typical actions is. That is metagaming. Or in Among Us, if you're like, oh, my friend always does this when he lies, he's lying right now, that again is metagaming. Basically, there's all factors that give you an advantage whilst you're playing the game, but it's not actually part of the game itself. Now, recently, there's been a movement to refer to meta with a backronym instead that means most effective tactic available. No, it stands for meta, you see? The idea is that when you're talking about meta or metagame, you're actually in reality talking about what's the most effective tactic available. However, that is wrong. That is not what meta means. The main issue of looking at meta from this perspective is that it is, instead of referring to something entirely different, meta is more than just what's the most effective tactic. If meta means the most effective tactic available, then saying, oh, I think this deck is a very popular deck right now, is not a meta discussion under this backronym. And so let's look at meta versus META. Most effective tactic available would be a fitting backronym if it had actually attempted to define what meta means, but it doesn't. The backronym also carries heavy results-oriented bias. If something won an event, then surely that was the meta pick, right? Because that was the most effective deck. If it wasn't the most effective deck, then how did it win the event, right? So it's very results-oriented biased. And before anyone says, oh, but the meta changes all the time, so actually it was meta for that event, World Challenge won a YCS, and it's a very, very bad deck that should not have even topped, right? So there's very heavy flaws with thinking a meta is the most effective tactic available. Meta refers to so much more than just what's most effective, and trying to define it this way only serves to restrict actual meta conversations. But that's basically all I really have to say today, and there's not been a pitch on some of these slides, so enjoy this cat instead. Oh look, it meows. And if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, be sure to subscribe. This has been a Scepter360 Productions, and I'll see you gamers later.